Welcome back, everybody, to the channel. We're back with Week 3 Donruss quarterbacks values after this weekend's games. I will say none of the quarterbacks had particularly good games. Not to mention the card market itself for these quarterbacks, right, as the flood of cards have come on. The values have definitely decreased over the last week. And since week 1, as expected, right? Value was high. People were excited. New set came out. New football season, and things have started to kind of right size at this point to where they are. So hopefully this will be at the bottom value for some of these players. I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens. But here, let's get into week 3 and see where the values have gone. Kellen Mond obviously hasn't played. Third string quarterback. He's down to $2.35, which kind of makes sense, right, for a guy that hasn't played. Nothing but potential here. So if you're looking just to collect, now may be a good time. Maybe you can get it for $1 because the lowest sale over the week was 86 cents. So you might be able to get something just for $1 here on Kellen Mond. Kyle Trask, similar situation, $2.45 this week, $4 yesterday on Sunday, but $1 was the lowest price. Again, something potentially to get at the low end here for Kyle Trask, potentially to hold for a future date. On to Justin Fields. Much anticipated start this week against Cleveland with Andy Dalton out on injury. However, this game did not go according to plan for the Bears and Justin Fields, as he was sacked 9 times.
Blitz coming. Fields sees it, unloads it. First down, Robinson breaks the tackle.
Highlight. There wasn't much of a highlight here for him. 6 of 20 for 68 yards. Did not look good. 30%. I mean, the Browns were all over him. He ran the ball 3 times for 12 yards, but basically just running for his life the entire time. Hard to come up with a highlight, as you can see. Just a completion. Pretty decent one, but felt like the Bears didn't do a very good job of getting him out of the pocket, rolling him to his right, and to potentially get some guys open, some crossing routes, get him comfortable. I think the Bears did a pretty crappy job of game planning for this, but I give the credit to the Browns too for completely disrupting the Bears. Not bad though from a card standpoint. 1894 was the average over the week. I would say probably potentially because of the anticipation of him starting. It went up. Yesterday the sales, there was 14 cards sold. 1195 was the average. So potentially see the cards or the value of Justin Fields going down this week to maybe low teens, $12, $13. A lot of cards sold though, $300. A lot of cards exchanged hands. So we'll be interested to see how this one plays out. Trey Lance down to $13.26, $10 yesterday. Maybe there was some hype late last night after he actually got into the game.
And ran a couple of times. And here goes the rookie around the left side, and then he goes for the touchdown.
At the end of the first half, ran the ball once, actually scored the touchdown to get the 49ers on the board to make it a little bit closer here right before halftime. But he's down to $13.26. There was actually a card sold for 99 cents, high of 30. But again, some of these might be those press proof, so a bit out of range. Look for Trey Lance if he does get some starts, potentially to be in the mid-teens, but look for cards around $10, I think, at this point for Trey Lance. Zach Wilson, another abysmal game. The Jets got shut out. The Jets are just trash. The average was down to less than $10. Most recent sales yesterday, there was 12 cards sold for an average of 7. The lowest was $1.94. Again, he's under $10. I would expect this one to probably keep going down just because the Jets are terrible. But there's a chance, right? This actually goes. He's not a bad quarterback. I think just the Jets are just a bad team. He's been sacked 15 times already this year, 5 more yesterday. Not good. Not much to say else on Zach Wilson. Mac Jones, the Patriots didn't look the best yesterday too. Kind of actually had a pretty bad game. The Saints did a good job of containing him. He was 30 of 51 for 270 yards. He was sacked 2 times. He did throw 3 picks, which was not pretty. He did have a pretty decent touchdown, but that was probably more on the receiver.
He had a rush in the first 2 games, so that's a good run from Jones, the longest of his young career. Pressure on him. Back foot for Bourne. Oh, what a connection.
As you can see in the highlight, Mac though down to $23.94, just under $24. A low of 10 during the week. Yesterday, about $18.26. I'd expect to see Mac Jones below $20 going into next week. And the number 1 pick, Trevor Lawrence. The Jags actually played decent through the first, 3 quarters. He was sacked 3 times yesterday, though. Threw 2 more picks. He's up to 7 on the year. Having a rough start. I mean, the Jags, again, are not a good team overall. The best highlight.
Jags have a timeout left. Lawrence looking. Lawrence in zone. Oh, touchdown! Jacksonville. What a throw.
Now, the last game was the kick 6. If you didn't see it, it was right at the end of the first half. Cardinals went for a 60-something yard field goal. Just missed it. Guy ran it back for 109 yards. Was pretty impressive. But Trevor Lawrence, yesterday's sales, $13.94, down to $18 over the course of the week. I would expect to see this to stay relatively at this range for the next several weeks at this point. All the cards I see out there now are asking about $20. You could probably get it for 16, 17 potentially. This might be one of those times where you can kind of jump in. Maybe you can get it for less than 10, but he's right now in the upper teens. And then just for a point of reference, I wanted to throw this out there. Joe Burrow, week 3 of last year, just to see how he was doing. He was up to 21.38, so he would have been second on this list behind Mac Jones. Remember, beginning of the year, Joe Burrow was pretty much lighting it up. The Bengals were not playing well, but he was throwing for a ton of yards, and they were in a lot of games. So he was at week 3 this time last year was at 21.38. In today's value, as of today, Monday, the 27th, I believe we are, 28th, in 2021, he's at $15 and starting to play really well again. The Bengals actually are 2-1. And Justin Herbert, who just beat the Chiefs yesterday, at this point last year, he was at $13.21. And of course, you can see today he's up to $34.70. They just beat the Chiefs yesterday. But again, the Chargers and Justin Herbert this time last year were not playing the best. They were starting to throw up a lot of yards, a lot of points, and finally is starting to get there, but not quite there yet. So there you go. If you enjoyed it, smash the like, click subscribe, check out our next video next week to see where everybody's at and see where you potentially should be buying your cards at. And I hope everybody has a good one. See you next week.